As millions of fans around the world celebrated the return of Jungkook, BTS's golden magne, from his 18-month military service, few knew where he would be heading first. It wasn't the stage. It wasn't the studio. It wasn't even a reunion party. Instead, early this morning, under the calm skies of Busan, Jungkook quietly made his way to a place that holds the deepest piece of his heart, his late grandmother's grave. According to a close source within HYB, Jungkook had requested a moment of silence and privacy before any press or official schedule could begin. His reason? He had made a personal promise when he enlisted that he would come back stronger, more mature, and most importantly, that he would visit the woman who helped raise him, even if she could no longer be there to see it. A small car, tinted and unbranded, was seen entering the cemetery gates just after dawn. Dressed in simple black attire, Jungkook stepped out with no entourage, no cameras, and no fans trailing him. In his hands was a small bouquet of white lilies and a letter, folded carefully and slightly creased, as if it had been read and rewritten multiple times. Witnesses described the scene as heart-wrenching but beautiful. One cemetery staff member stated, "He just stood there, quietly, for almost an hour. At one point, he knelt, placed the letter on the gravestone, and bowed deeply." You could see in his expression that this was more than a visit. It was closure. Jin, BTS's eldest member and someone who has always played a protective, brotherly role in Jungkook's life, later commented on the visit in a heartfelt social media post. He shared an old photo of Jungkook with his grandmother, one not many fans had seen before, and wrote, "He always wanted to make her proud. He worked so hard these past 18 months, not just for us, but for her. Today, he fulfilled that promise." Fans across the globe were brought to tears by the rawness of the moment. ARMY flooded social media with the hashtag #ProudOfYouJungkook, along with personal stories of their own loved ones who shaped their lives and memories. Some even visited local cemeteries in solidarity, placing white flowers in Jungkook's honor. What makes this story even more touching is the quiet role Jin played behind the scenes. Although Jin had finished his own military service months earlier, he was reportedly the one who reminded Jungkook before his discharge, "Don't forget to visit her. She would have waited for this day more than anyone." Sources close to the two revealed that Jin helped coordinate the visit discreetly, even calling the cemetery in advance to ensure no media or fans would be present. He wanted Jungkook to have this moment undisturbed. A staff member said, "Fans were quick to praise the depth of the brotherhood between them." One fan wrote on Weverse, "This isn't just friendship. This is family." Jin always looks out for Jungkook, even in the quietest moments. The emotional gravity of the visit also echoed the maturity Jungkook displayed during his military service. Known among fellow soldiers as a humble, hardworking, and dependable figure, he emerged as one of the top graduates, a detail that would have undoubtedly made his grandmother beam with pride. One insider noted, "He carried her memory into every cold morning, every training day, every sacrifice. She wasn't there physically, but she was there in spirit, always." As Jungkook now prepares to return to the spotlight, fans believe his next steps will be guided by something more powerful than fame, legacy, love, and gratitude. His return is not just a comeback, it's a continuation of a journey shaped by those he loves, both near and far. Jin's final words during a fan call today summed it up best. Jungkook's strength doesn't just come from muscles or medals. It comes from memories, from the people he loves, and from the promises he keeps. And today, that promise was fulfilled. Welcome back, Jungkook. Your grandmother would be proud. And so are we. As news of Jungkook's private visit spread, despite the artist's best efforts to keep it quiet, ARMY around the world responded not with fanfare, but with reverence. The global fandom, often seen as a collective of passionate supporters, transformed for a moment into something softer, more intimate, a family grieving and celebrating together. In South Korea, fans began placing white flowers at memorial sites dedicated to BTS, some even lighting candles at home in quiet tribute. In Busan, a small group of fans respectfully laid flowers near the entrance of the cemetery, never crossing the boundary Jungkook had drawn for his privacy, but letting their presence speak the words they could never say to him in person. Across social media, messages like, "She watched over you in the cold and the dark, and now she's smiling in the light. Your strength honors her memory. We're proud of both of you. Thank you, Jungkook, for showing us that love never dies. It only deepens." Filled the timelines, along with shared memories of fans' own loved ones who had passed on. What had started as a news story became a mirror for personal healing, a moment that unified grief with gratitude. Meanwhile, Jin, who had remained quietly in the background, reposted a fan's art of Jungkook kneeling in front of a gravestone, softly lit with stars, and captioned it, "Sometimes, the loudest love is the one that doesn't make a sound." His continued support for Jungkook didn't stop there. That evening, Jin was seen arriving at the dormitory with a traditional meal in hand, one Jungkook's grandmother used to cook for him as a child. He probably doesn't remember the taste exactly, Jin told the dorm staff with a smile, but sometimes the heart remembers even when the tongue forgets. As Jungkook returned to Seoul that night, there was no fanfare at the airport, no flashing lights or shouting paparazzi, just the soft city glow reflecting off his window as he looked out in thought. Fans later learned he kept the letter he'd left at the grave, a copy in his jacket pocket, slightly damp from tears, carefully folded. That letter was said to have been written during his third week of service, in the cold of winter, while on night watch. In it, he had written, "Halmoni, I'm scared. I've never been away from everything before. But I'm here. I'm trying. I want to come back better. Not for the world. For you. I miss your laugh. I miss your stories. I promise, when I come back, I'll come see you first." And he did. According to close staff, Jungkook refused to begin any comeback meeting, recording session, or official photo shoot until that promise was fulfilled. The respect he showed for that memory became a lesson not only for his fans but also for fellow idols, juniors, and even executives at Big Hit. One director reportedly told his team, "This is the kind of sincerity we can never manufacture. This is what makes BTS timeless." It's easy to forget, in the glow of stardom and the roar of sold-out arenas, that behind each global icon stands a boy who once cried in his grandmother's arms, unsure of the future. It's even easier to forget that grief does not lessen with fame. In fact, it becomes heavier in silence. But Jungkook reminded the world that no matter how far one travels, true home is where love is buried, and where it continues to bloom. AS fans await his return to the stage, perhaps with a new solo track, or a touching ballad inspired by this very chapter. They carry with them the echoes of today, the boy who knelt at a grave, the brother who walked beside him, and the quiet reminder that even in a world of flashing lights, some of the brightest moments happen when no one is watching. So what comes next for Jungkook? Will he write a song inspired by his grandmother's lullabies? Will Jin join him in a track dedicated to those they've loved and lost? Will Big Hit release a documentary capturing this emotional homecoming? Or will Jungkook continue to surprise us by being exactly who he is, raw, humble, and unshakably real? Whatever happens, one thing is certain. Jungkook didn't just return from the military today, he returned from the silence, with a heart full of promises kept, and love that lives on. And in the words of Jin, softly spoken to the staff as he exited the dorm that evening, "I think she was watching, and I think she was smiling." The days following Jungkook's emotional visit to his grandmother's grave have been filled with a profound, almost sacred calm in the BTS community. It's not the usual noise of comebacks, teaser photos, or trending hashtags, though those will certainly come, but rather a collective exhale of gratitude for his safe return, for his humility, and for his unwavering connection to the roots that shaped him. Jin, as always, remained a quiet pillar beside him. While he may have completed his military service earlier and is now gradually stepping back into the entertainment spotlight, he has never stopped being the Hyung that Jungkook looks up to, not for his fame, but for his humanity. A behind-the-scenes moment captured quietly by a staff member and later shared in a private fan event. Jin and Jungkook were seen sitting on the dorm balcony late at night, warm drinks in hand, saying very little but clearly sharing everything. The staffer described it like this: "They didn't speak much, but the air between them felt heavy with meaning." Jin had his hand on Jungkook's shoulder. Jungkook was holding a photo. I think it was his grandmother. This image spread quickly, not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. Two brothers, not by blood but by bond, processing life after duty, life after grief, and life after silence. What fans didn't expect was the surprise that followed the next morning. Jungkook appeared briefly on Weverse Live, not to sing or promote, but simply to talk.